Shit.
Did I start it?
Please tell me I started this. Yeah.
I know, but yeah, you were telling me about the cycle that you were doing.
Yeah. Well, I haven't done it yet.
So what is it? Because we were like both kind of drunk when we were chatting about it.
Yeah,
So I was like,
yeah. Which is
I was like, he's cycling in Europe somewhere, and
yeah.
so
So
what is it?
so it's I'm making a documentary. Just it's called Quadavito, and it's gonna be it stands for quarter life, and I'm gonna have my 25th birthday at the end of it all.
Nice.
And I do 90 days of cycling all through Europe,
Right, okay.
and then another 10 days of doing Everest Base Camp.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I totally forgot about that part.
Yeah.
So with the name Quadrivido, was that like?
It's Latin for
Right, okay,
quarter
so-
life.
okay, sweet,
And I
yeah.
have my 25th birthday on Everest Base Camp.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah. I was thinking of calling it Average Joe,
Yeah.
the thing, because the whole premise of the documentary is that you can be a completely average person
Yeah.
and still do something extraordinary like this.
Yeah.
And I've never done anything like that
Yeah.
before. I've done a bit of like running and sports and stuff.
Yeah.
But nothing that big. So it's
Yeah.
3 months on the road and just my bike and a tent, and then just getting straight into Everest Base Camp straight after it. So it's like gonna be pretty intense, and the
Yeah.
whole idea of it is that anybody can do it. And my name's Joe, and I'm an average size person,
yeah.
average build, everything. I remember it's funny. I got told I was the most average person ever by this guy that was fitting my ski boots once.
Oh, really?
Because I was like my dad's got real wide feet. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I've got pretty wide feet, and he goes, sorry, but if I was to define average, it's you.
No
And
way.
I was like,
Oh,
fucking
fuck,
right,
yeah.
okay. But yeah, so that was the premise of it, is that anybody can do it, and I'm gonna do it for my 25th birthday,
Right, okay, sweet.
and then just kind of have just make a bunch of stories along the way, like
Yeah.
90 days on the road in Europe.
And you just doing it yourself? Or
Just
you gonna try and-
all by myself.
Right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. I start in Amsterdam, and then I head down through like France.
Have you got like have you got an exact plan, or you just
No,
kinda, like,
just rough idea so far. As it gets closer, because it's not not starting till June next year. That is essentially closer to that date. That's when I'm going to start, like, obviously organizing the bike and stuff to get picked up in Amsterdam,
Yeah.
and everything like that. And so
And we-
essentially going through France down towards Spain and Barcelona, and then I basically do this big D up through up towards Italy, Switzerland, then up through Germany, hit Berlin, and then I end up in Oslo, Norway, and then I fly from Norway to Kathmandu.
And are you gonna do these like back to back? Like as in like you fly in and the next day you're like
Oh, and I'll fly in, probably spend a week in Amsterdam, just kind of like getting everything set up for the
Yeah.
ride, and then get going.
Yeah.
And then just like on the road we go.
So where, like, obviously, where did you think of it? Like, what made you think of that?
So my best mate back home, Mitch Cram, his mum, when she was in her 20s, did cycling through Europe, but more like through Eastern Europe.
Yeah.
She went and she did Nepal and stuff.
Oh wow.
Cycling through there, did Switzerland, and she
that'd
did
be
that with her boyfriend at the time. And before I came over to Canada, I was telling her that like I want to get some stories under the belt. I want to travel heaps and stuff like that. And she's like, "Oh, this is like the most traveling I did."
Yeah.
And she was showing me photos on her old film camera.
And Nepal, that'd be weird.
And it was like she went and did like a bunch of these glaciers up in Nepal, and now they're all melted now, so it's like you can't do them anymore. And I was like, "Fuck, I want to do something like that.
Yeah.
I want to do something like big, not just go to a ski season or go do summer in Banff or something like that, but just like let me do something big. So then like when I'm 45, got like a desk job, I can like have all these photos of like me in a French farm getting fed by some locals or something like that.
Yeah, it'd be sweet.
And then just have like a bunch of lore under the belt.
Yeah.
So then like I can like confidently say I've traveled.
Yeah.
Which is the whole idea of it, really.
Yeah.
So that inspired me to like kind of think more outside the box for something big. And then I essentially just like started brainstorming like, oh, cycling for Europe, I could probably just do the same thing. And then I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'm going to film the whole thing, get a full documentary going for it, and then try and sell that to companies, like the gear that I'll be wearing at the time.
Yeah.
And sell that to them so then they can share it, and then obviously it can start up some sort of thing going for me.
Yeah.
Because like I've always, a big goal of mine is, because I'm so into my skiing, so much into my outdoors, out like mountain lifestyle type of thing.
Yeah.
I want to be a videographer for that kind of thing. Like,
Okay,
be a
nice.
ski videographer or something like that. And if this is like an entryway to get me into it,
Yeah.
fucking oath.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely, yeah.
like it'd be just so sick for me to do that.
Yeah.
So
I think in this day and age as well, like people, I feel like people look less at like, oh, he's got like a degree in videography. Like,
Yeah.
and now if they're like, oh, this guy actually like went out and did this entire thing by himself and it was good.
Yeah.
You're like, well, he's obviously can do it.
He can
like,
do
what
it,
is this?
yeah. Well, that's the whole point. I think back when like I was running my business back home, I would never really look at someone's degree. I'd always look at what they've done.
Yeah.
It's like their achievements speak more than what they've just put like money or time into.
Yeah.
If they've put money and time into something and it's done something, then it's more than just money and time they've spent into it. It's actually effort.
Yeah.
And this is the whole point of just like I'm gonna probably hate half of this trip.
Yeah, oh, definitely.
I'm gonna be there like cold French countryside,
Yeah.
freezing my balls off, and especially it's when it like at the end of the 90 days it'll be starting to swing back to winter.
Because it's 3 months.
3 months,
Okay,
yeah. So I
yeah.
start at the start of summer,
Yeah.
and then I end in like start of September, which is then starting to get cold again.
Yeah.
And then I'll be
Especially
doing base camp essentially this time next year.
Yeah.
So it's just gonna be like it's gonna be fucking miserable some of it, but I know it's just gonna be such a story to tell.
Yeah,
like
definitely,
the times
yeah.
when like you're climbing a mountain here, and you're like freaking out because it's like cold, wet, fucking. You're like, fuck this, I'm gonna die.
Yeah.
And then like a week later, like that was actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, I know.
So that's the idea.
It's good though that you already have that mentality of like, this is going to suck at points.
Yeah.
You're not just going to be like, oh, I'm just like cycling through the country.
Just gonna be so dead in that.
Because then when those sucky moments happen, you're like, cool, I knew this was coming.
You're coming, yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I think the hardest thing is gonna be, it'll be long days on the road.
Yeah.
Like cycling, I'll be exhausted, and then like just wanting just a bed.
Yeah.
Just wanting not a tent.
Are you going to take a tent? Or are you going to like mix? Are you going to like have a tent? Or are you going to like?
No, I'll mix it up when I hit the cities.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll be trying to stay in like
Very
hostels.
cheap as well, probably.
Yeah, I'll be trying to stay in the hostels and stuff over the cities, and I'm like, it's not just going to be about me just on the road. I'm going to obviously be going out in towns
Yeah,
and
it's
whatnot,
travel.
and it's also about like just doing a bit like a social thing as well. Just try and make new friends everywhere I go. Try and get like favors from people. Like I want to like rock up to like a French farmer and be like, can I get food?
Yeah.
And then see what happens. Like you just
like,
never know
nope.
where it may lead to. You just
Yeah.
like get kidnapped, fucking knows.
Yeah.
But just literally just try and see whatever comes my way on that trip. Just
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it and run with it.
Well, that's definitely true. Like how many, like all the decent stories I have aren't like, oh, like me and so and so went on a night out and it was perfect. We got drunk. And
No.
It's always like the absolute disaster.
Disasters that turn into something. Yeah.
So I kind of did a similar thing. Like I was the same as you. Like I didn't want to just like travel, so I was moving to Australia, but I traveled like literally in a linear fashion to get there. So I started in India, which was kind of like, in hindsight, was a mistake because I'd been on holidays like in Europe and really Europe before that, but I'd never been anywhere. I never like traveled like backpacked by myself, and to like go to India as like the first place was like, in hindsight, was a massive mistake, obviously.
Yeah.
But like. But my month in India compared to like the whole other rest of it, minus like Nepal, like the whole other rest of it, which was like Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, was like that 1 month, like that's where all my best stories are.
Yeah.
Because Thailand and Cambodia is kind of like, you know, it's like Brits abroad. It's like people coming to Banff. It's like, yeah, right.
Yeah, you run into a lot of people from back home.
I literally was just like, oh, I'm just on like it's like a party holiday.
Yeah,
It wasn't
yeah.
like I was traveling. I was like, there's more British people here than there is.
There is
like,
in my hometown. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 100%. No, I've like. I love the stories where you just go somewhere without really planning it heavily. You have a rough idea of what you want to do, but if something gets thrown your way, you're like, fuck it. You freak out at the moment. You're like, what the fuck do we do?
Yeah.
But then at the end of it, you're like, oh, that was actually hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, I remember in France, we went over for my cousin's wedding, and half of us all got on the wrong train. And a few of us went down to Italy, half of us went to Germany.
Oh, no way.
And we didn't have phones to like text anybody. Everyone's like freaking out. What do we do? And we were like, it was only me and my little sister. I was like 16 at the time, and she was like 10. And we were like, what do we do? We're in Italy. We're not meant to be in Italy. We're in Germany. And then we went up to like the travel agents, and they were freaking out because they thought we were like running away from like abductees.
Oh, really?
And they were like, "Oh, like, come with us." And we're like, "No, we don't want to come with you because we don't want to get abducted."
Yeah.
And then like these I think it was actually German backpackers came up, and were like, they spoke better English than so like, what's up? I was like, we just got on the wrong train. We need to just get that one. And they're like, oh, just that one takes you back up. And I'm like, oh, thanks so much.
And are you gonna like? Can you speak any like language of any that?
No,
I mean that's part of it as well. Like,
that's
say, like see if you learn to say please and thank you. I feel like.
Oh yeah, I'll probably learn to like where is so and so, like try and get directions,
Yeah.
like just in case I'm like lost on the road.
Yeah.
I can be like, just like whatever, like
Yeah.
say something, and then
I
But
think,
yeah, sorry.
no, I was going to say, I think also a lot of the major cities, like you're probably going to like be able to speak English.
Yeah, well, there's gonna be like some sort of
Yeah.
traveling crew around, and I'll be pretty obviously like on the. I'll be pretty rough by halfway
Yeah.
through. I'll be like,
People be
have-
like, this man needs help.
this man is. I'm like, are you alright? I'm like
Yeah.
skinny, pale, fat,
Yeah.
probably burnt too.
Probably burnt, yeah.
I'll be yeah. That's the big thing that I gotta like remember is like sunscreen, and just like enough actual food
Yeah.
to eat because I'll be burning so many calories.
So
by the-
have you thought how you're gonna like manage the whole food scenario?
A lot of it's just gonna be a lot of those like high calorie protein
Yeah,
bars, and it's just like just be smashing them, and then really just trying to get my rest in. Like I've always been like I've always got a history of being a runner.
All right.
I used to try and make the Olympics back home.
Wow, that's cool.
Didn't make
Yeah.
it. Didn't make it.
Damn it.
But I got a history of like obviously being pretty quick on my feet and like having running, so I know how to manage my energy levels with that.
So you do have like experience
In like
I mean,
like a cardio sport. Yes,
yeah.
So I know how to manage my energy levels, but it's just gonna be very different not being able to have a day or two rest.
Yeah.
It's gonna be basically like I'm gonna be riding 80 Ks or so every day.
Is it?
And like that's what it averages out to.
Yeah.
Some days, especially when I'm going through the Alps through Switzerland, it's gonna be like, no, I'll be doing like 20 Ks a day because it's just gonna be fucking uphill. It's gonna be so tough. But
Yeah, that will be.
it'd be like, fuck it. Like, you know, it'd be like, it's like climbing a mountain. Once you get to the top, you're like, fuck yeah. And like plan on, it's like I'm gonna be traveling a lot of distance through France when it's really flat. Like I'll be getting a lot of distance per day on that. And then, but once I hit like, once I basically hit Germany and Switzerland and stuff, that's when it's gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna be slowing down heaps there. And then once I'm past the mountains, then I'm getting a lot of distance again.
So it sounds like you actually have the route pretty much like.
Yeah, roughly
roughly
planned out. I planned on like because I want to do like more of a rounded trip through Europe rather than just going like here to there. Like I didn't want to go from like the west coast of France and then just go all the way down to Italy or something like that. I want to see a lot of Eastern Europe as well.
That'd be so cool, mate.
Yeah, it's gonna be mad.
Have you been to Europe before?
I only went for my cousin's wedding, which was only France and Germany.
Yeah.
We did a bit of Italy. But that was more of just like a sitting by the beach, just like enjoying the sun type of thing.
Probably
not
gonna do any of that.
I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm just gonna be like, just driving past, riding past it all. Obviously, I'll be on the bike, so it's a lot slower to go. Like, so I'll be able to really kind of take it in a lot more rather than just like zooming past on the car.
So you were chatting about like Giant. You reached out to Giant, and
I reached out to Giant.
So how did you do that? Did you literally just?
I just emailed them.
Like customer service.
Yeah, customer service. I got an idea for this documentary. Gonna self-fund everything. Giant haven't got back to me. Patagonia got back to me saying we're happy to help out where you need us. They're only really gonna share it on their socials once it's made.
Yeah.
Same with Cliff Bar. Cliff Bar said we're happy to help out. They're happy to refund any Cliff Bar purchases along the way.
That's it. Yeah.
So I was like, fucking yes, there we go. There's the food kind of sorted.
Yeah.
But it is really dependent on the product I make.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole point, was that I don't want to be
definitely.
fishing for just you guys to help me because I don't have any experience in anything. And I was like, look, if I make something good, then obviously follow through with these deals.
Yeah.
But if I don't make anything good, then it's not up to you to fulfill this promise you've made me because I haven't actually done anything good.
Yeah. So you said that to them?
I said that to them. Yeah. I said like, I'm gonna do this if you sponsor me or not.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go do this and I'm gonna have like just make these memories for myself.
Yeah.
If I can have the help from you guys, then 100% I'm gonna take it. But I also want to like be making something good.
Yeah.
For your end.
Yeah.
Like I can't just be like, oh, I've just gone and travelled and gimme.
Yeah.
I gotta actually give something in return for them.
Yeah.
And that's why like I want to get a Patagonia jacket. I want to get the Giant bikes, and then I can have them throughout the video without having to worry about any branding issues on their end and stuff like that.
Yeah, except you get a video and they're sponsoring you, and then you're wearing like a Nike top.
Yeah, Nike top. They'll be like, fuck off. Yeah.
I mean, you can probably like sketch out, I guess.
Yeah, but that'll be a lot of effort. Yeah. And
so the bike, you haven't heard from Giant about the bike?
Giant hasn't got back to me about the bike. The bike is really kind of just be up to me, and then whatever bike I end up getting at the end of the day, I'll be reaching out to them.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
So But yeah, I want to get like Garmin,
Garmin's amazing.
Google Maps and stuff to sponsor me as well, because it'd be like such a good way, like it's a good idea for them,
Yeah.
because they'll be 100% down for like, oh, guy's traveling through Europe with nothing but his bike, and he's using Google Maps,
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
using
How good
Garmin.
is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's like perfect, and the whole idea is like the average Joe thing. It's like,
Yeah.
I am nothing without the gear you use, and so it's like it promotes their product more. So by them be like, oh, he's an average Joe. Look what he's done with our gear.
Yeah.
And if he can do it, you can do it, type of
Yeah.
thing. So it's like that kind of promotional thing.
Yeah, I think that's so true. Like, I think, like, I've obviously done a couple of things. Like, I did an Ironman, and I've done like 100 miles. And people like the people that say to me, they're like, oh yeah, but you've always been fit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, honestly, like, I'm the same as you. I mean, I wasn't doing anything Olympic style, but like, I've generally been fit as a kid. Like,
Yeah.
I used to be like part of a running club, but
Yeah.
like, it's funny how once you start to do stuff like that, people like then assign you. They're like, yeah, but you've always been like that.
You've always been like that, yeah.
Because that was the same thing for me. But maybe like this whole thing, obviously the website, like a lot of it's just like me being like, I started with like absolutely nothing. Like half the stuff when I started, like I borrowed. You know what I mean? And I didn't have a triathlon background. I didn't have a crazy endurance background. I just was like, I kind of want to do these things, and let's do it. And it's like you try and tell that to people, you're like, nah, like anyone could do it. And they're like, nah, I don't have like
that their ticker.
Yeah, and I guess because I think that it definitely like, and as soon as you have it, like it definitely takes a mentality though to be like, right, I'm gonna do. Because I honestly think that is, it gets to a point in the training and these things where like, obviously there's a lot of like physical training, but I think it gets to a point where like after that, like it's all in your head.
It's 100% all in your head, yeah. Especially with my running background, there was only so much our bodies could take us.
Yeah.
And then where your body can push forward, but it's just like you could so easily just stop.
Yeah.
And you just got to go, fuck, no, I got to keep
Yeah.
going, got to keep going. Especially like I used to do, I've done like a few marathons. And like I always take it like, all right, I'm 10Ks in, I got I'm a quarter way there.
Yeah, no, I was
like, if I just did that, I can do it again.
Yeah.
And then you just kind of keep saying that to yourself.
Yeah.
And it's all about rhythm as well. Once you start getting in a bit of a rhythm, especially with running, you're sweet.
Yeah.
With the bike, it's this. I assume it's the same thing.
Dude, it sounds like your mentality's dialed in already. The fact that, because that's what I learned when I was doing all that stuff, was it was like, if you think of so like when I was doing the 100 miles, like if I actually thought of like running the whole thing, it would like totally
destroys you. You never really think of the end.
So I was just like giving myself, I was like, just get to the start line. That's easy. It just lets you stand there. And then after the start line, it was like, do one lap. And then after that, I was like, okay, get to the next stage. So I think the fact that you're already like...
Yeah, I never really think of the finish line. I think of pace and what I've just done.
Yeah.
So if I just did a 5K and I got another 20Ks to go, and I'm not thinking about 20 more Ks. I'm thinking, I just did 5. I can do that again because I'm feeling all right now.
Yeah.
I'm feeling okay now, so I can do it again. I know it's fine as long as I just do exactly what I did just then.
Yeah.
For the next one. And then I don't worry about the next one after that until I'm done that one.
Yeah.
And then it's like, obviously you're a couple Ks down the road, you're like, well, fuck, I'm starting to feel it now. Like, fuck, okay, shit, got to like slow up a bit, got to like, change the thing. But then you just got to kind of have in your mindset, like, my rhythm is what's going to save me. Not these legs will only take me so far. It's my head that's going to take me the rest.
Yeah.
Even though your legs are going to take you the whole way.
Yeah.
It's just, you just don't put the pressure on your legs. Because I always think of it like, my legs are they're a different entity to my brain, and my lungs are a different entity to my brain when I'm running.
Right, okay.
Like they are doing their own part to help myself get a place.
Oh, right.
So it's like my legs, I know the rhythm of how they work. I know my lungs, the rhythm of how they're going to work. And then my head is the one that's going to make it all come together.
Yeah.
So then I can go somewhere.
It seems that you got a very like pragmatic approach to like training. You can like separate everything.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like I separate I don't know. I can get so into like how I've got to land this foot with my toes up a bit. So then it's like I get more of a push because I'm going up a little bit more of a hill.
Yeah.
And, like you can kind of really separate it, but that's just through the history of running. Like I've been running since I was like 10.
Yeah.
So it's like almost over a decade of just proper running.
Yeah.
So it's like you learn that stuff, right? You go, and that's purely just for you just they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna run like 25 800-meter sprints now, and you're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, why?
Why are we
did I
doing this?
do?
And they're like, it's gonna make you fit. And then at the end of it,
Yeah.
they're like,
Yeah.
dying. But then like the next time you do it, you're like, oh, I knew I fucking died right here.
Yeah.
How do I make it past there? And then you just kind of just know it.
Well, I think that's like when I was just part of this running club, we would do like similar things. Like, I remember like, I actually missed that because like you're so exhausted. I don't know. I think that's actually why I've enjoyed doing the stuff later in life, like the races that I've done, is because like I missed that, like being a kid and like obviously it's kind of forced upon. I was definitely forced upon me by my parents, which like I'm really thankful for.
Yeah.
But yeah, like doing all those like sprints, like you're dying, but then you also like after it's like, man, I feel amazing.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like it's such a rewarding feeling. Just especially cardio sports. I think,
definitely.
like,
Yeah.
like I think I used to always be massive into going to the gym and whatnot, but I just wasn't getting the same kick as what I
Yeah.
did when I was on my running or
Yeah.
when I was like trying to surf or something like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just such a different sense of endorphin you get.
I usually mine's kind of like I go like to the gym 2 days a week, and that's for pure vanity.
Yeah,
Just I want to
just want to look good. Yeah,
look good. But everything else, like the swimming or whatever I'm doing at that time, that's for like my brain. Obviously, it's for my physical, my cardio as well. And obviously, the gym does give you strength, but I was saying the gym's for like my vanity, and the cardio is for like my brain.
Yeah.
Like, if you obviously must have had this where you go over. I could be thinking about something all day, and I'll go a run. And it's just like
gone 100%. Like I used to always like, especially like a big thing was when I was going through school, like final exams and stuff. I was like, fuck, I hate, like it sucks. Like everybody hates it, and I'll just be like, I was in my running, so just go for your runs, and then at the end of it, you're like, you feel so clear of head, and then you're like, oh, I actually know what I need to do now. It kind of like, because when you're running, it is just you and your thoughts sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm not a big fan of listening to music when I'm on the runs.
Yeah.
Because I like hearing my breath and like whatnot. But it's like you kind of start having this like self-therapy essentially.
Yeah,
But you're
definitely,
you're not just sitting in a room just pondering in your head. You're out doing something. And then obviously the endorphins from the run help like clarify so much in your head. And then like when you come back to it, say if you're stressed about anything, it's just kind of like, all right, I know what I need to do now.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it's work anymore because you've thought it out, and it's not so much of a tedious task to figure your life out. And I just found it like so therapeutic, like for me. So.
And have you got like, what's your cycling experience?
None.
Yeah.
Zero cycling experience. Yeah.
I was the same. Like before I did any like the triathlons and that, I'm not gonna. I'm gonna say this just to be totally honest. I've hated cycling.
Yeah.
Because it was just pure. I think it was probably because I could obviously same as you. I had a ton of running experience. Swimming, like I felt like wasn't too bad.
I'm terrible on the swim.
Yeah.
I'm terrible on the swim.
But I put effort into like my technique and stuff like that, and I'd actually say my swim's pretty good now. But the bike, I was just like, I don't know why, but I was just totally ignorant. I was like, I'm just gonna fucking like keep
go
going.
At it, yeah. It's
sitting on a bike.
I have no idea how I'm gonna do on the bike.
Yeah.
I reckon I'm gonna be figuring it out the first couple weeks.
Are you gonna try do training before it? Or are you?
No, well, I'll do like a bit of stuff to do like.
Just sit awkwardly in a chair.
Just
to get.
I don't think there's a lot of training I can do for it except for like just not let myself blow out.
Yeah.
But even at the same time, because it's gonna be such a heavy cardio sport, I kind of do need to have a bit of fat on me.
Yeah.
Because I'll burn through it all, and if I don't, I'll end up just wasting away.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like one of those like I need to be fit, but also not skinny when I start it because I'll need energy.
Yeah, that's probably one of the hardest things is like I mean minus the cycling obviously we're probably like trying to consume enough calories to...
Yeah, well I haven't I haven't done anything like it, so I don't know what it's going to be like for how many calories I'm going to be burning per day.
But it'll be crazy.
Yeah, well the biggest thing I need to sort out is just sleep, like enough sleep.
Yeah.
As well, because it'll be 80 k's a day.
Do you know have you got an idea roughly how long many hours?
Well, I want to do around 10 hours a day of sleep.
Right. Okay.
But it's still gonna be hard because if I'm behind on like how many k's I've done that day, I would want to push through so I've caught up. Because that's the whole point is like treating it like, okay, today I need to do 80 k's on the bike, and if it's like sundown and I've only done 70, obviously it's gonna be like fuck, shit, gotta like fucking find this extra 10k somewhere.
Yeah. How long does it take you to cycle? I don't even know how long it would take me to cycle 10k.
10K is not that bad on a bike. It'll probably take you like an hour
Right, okay,
or
yeah.
something like
But
that.
that's like, but like,
That's the thing. I'm doing 8 hours on the bike.
yeah.
So it's like
so like another, and it's also not like 8 hours and then just one extra hour that day. Then you're like cycling the next day.
Yeah,
And
exactly,
so it's
yeah.
like
So it's gonna be constantly. So that's why it's like I need to pace myself to those 80Ks a day because I probably could do 150Ks in a day if I just
Yeah.
go at it hard. But like that's the whole point is I'm not trying to break any world record
Yeah.
doing this. It's purely just for the experience.
You also want to enjoy it.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
exactly.
gonna
Like I
suck
want to
at times,
I want to ride through some towns and be like, this is nice. I want to be able to stop in a town and get like a souvenir or get a photo or something like that. Like so it's not like I'm trying to like run through the towns. I'm trying to like really enjoy just doing it, just being part of it and just going through it all.
Maybe when I was like, not even necessarily young. Well, yeah, I would say younger. I mean, when I was younger, and I heard people like who would like they'd be like, I would cycle through Europe or cycle through South Africa. South Africa or South America. Is that's what I meant. And I remember like when I was younger, I was like, why?
Yeah,
I just never like
same.
But
Yeah,
see now I'm like, that would be amazing.
yeah.
Because now the idea, like, I mean, maybe it's partially because obviously you wouldn't be working at the same time. So it's the idea of just being like totally like free and just being like, I think that'd be amazing now. Now I'm like, I actually would make, I don't know if it'll ever work out, but like a later point in life, like taking X months off and just like cycling.
No, that's the whole point. It's like because obviously I've like did real estate like full time, had like a little business for myself going, and it was stressing me out. And then I was like, I haven't traveled or done anything like that.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I was like, fuck, I need to go do that. So I've given myself the 2-year Canadian visa.
Yeah.
And I'm only going to use a year and a half of it, but then the next 6 months is going to be me in Europe doing the whole cycling thing. And I want to do Europe summer. I've always wanted wanted to always do that and not to work over there. And this is like the perfect way to do it.
Oh, so you're gonna save up like as much money as you can.
No, no, not really at all. No. I'm just gonna be going like probably with like probably like $2,000 in my bank account.
Canadian
or Canadian dollars, whatever. To be honest, it could be fucking less than that. Who knows?
Yeah.
It's just gonna be like whatever really comes my way, I'm gonna take advantage of.
Right, okay.
And just wing it. Like I'm just really just gonna wing it. I'm not gonna go stealing through Europe or anything like that, but it's just gonna be fucking like it's just me, myself, and that's the whole point of the doco as well, is that you don't need funds in your account, you don't need all the fancy gear, you don't need anything except for just a little bit of a ticker in your head just to go, fuck, I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah, when I was in India, there was a guy that I travelled with for a short period of time, used English, and all he had, right, was a Tesco bag, like a shopping bag, a Tesco bag that had like an extra t-shirt in it, like an extra pair of pants, trousers, whatever, and a toothbrush, and that was it. Yeah. But the thing with him was he came from, so that's all he had physically with him, but he came from like
money,
affluent family, so I don't know exactly, I may be speaking out of turn here, but like he like definitely had enough money to like buy food and shit like that. But like all he had, to be fair, all he had with him was this like one change of clothes and his toothbrush.
Yeah, well that's the thing. I
had the comfort of like,
as I get closer to it, it's like gonna find the outfits that I'm gonna wear because obviously I'm gonna be wearing a lot of.
I make chafe.
Yeah, like who know? If I get like a bad chafing, I'm like, fuck, can't ride today.
Yeah.
And but then I also want to kind of like obviously get a base layer of outfits, but then every now and then it's gonna be like a rainy day or something like that.
Oh, definitely.
And it's gonna be fucking terrible. So I gotta have like a change of clothes for that.
Yeah.
I gotta have like enough like underwear and socks for the sweat and everything like that as well. So yeah, it's just gonna be like, I can't obviously carry a whole suitcase on my back.
Yeah.
So I gotta be really conservative with what I'm carrying because everything I'm carrying is also more weight to cycle.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be like I gotta really be conservative with it all.
Yeah, and then it's like also like, how'd you wash it? Like, just get to a stream and you're just
probably just washing the thing.
I mean, to be honest, like, probably.
That's like that's the whole point. Is like literally just gonna be like. I'm always thinking about like my Forrest Gump moment, like when he's just like I just like running.
Yeah.
He's just gonna like just go and do it, and then just like oh he gets tired, sleeps.
Yeah.
Just needs to wash his clothes, finds a river.
Yeah.
Scrubs it out. Hangers on the back of the bike while he's riding.
Yeah.
Type of thing.
There's definitely like a freeing element to that whole idea, like of just like not having.
Being a nomad. Yeah. That's the whole point of it. Like I kind of like I've had such a structured life.
Yeah.
Like I went to boarding school, very structured. Then went to working full time, very structured. Now I'm doing Canada, and it's like unstructured, but it doesn't feel like I'm really free to go do everything because you kind of like you're limited by your funds.
Yeah.
So it's like, if I get like the bike, the tent, the like everything all set up for me to just go, all right, just go.
Yeah.
It's just like this sense of like, wee,
know.
just like just freedom.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I was probably the same as you. Were like, I left school and then I had like an unplanned year out, but I literally just worked in a bar, like kind of local to where I live. So it wasn't like I went anywhere. So left school, had like a year out, effectively at home working in a bar, and then. And then I worked with my dad for 5 years, so kind of same as you, like everything effectively minus that. Well, yeah, everything for like school minus kind of 1 year like messing around was like super structured, and I was the same as you, where I was just like, man, like, and I worked with my dad, you know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
wasn't even like the job I got wasn't like I had to like go out and get it myself. Yeah, like yeah, I was qualified to get it, but it's my dad's business. Obviously, that's why I got it.
Yeah.
You know, so when I went, I was probably like in hindsight, like I was probably very naive and like I don't know, just like immature. Not in like a immature in the sense of like life. Like when I went and I did that, like so I traveled for 6 months, went to Australia for a year, and I had to do. I wasn't. My dad couldn't get me a job. I wasn't living with my mate whose
Yeah.
dad gave us the flat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, like actually traveling through like just say India again and like shit's hitting nothing really went that bad, but like in my head
At the time, you're like,
like
fuck,
shit's hitting the fan.
yeah.
You're like, right, well, I need to get a job. I need to find somewhere to stay at. And it's
Yeah.
like I didn't realize it because this is not why I went, but like see that sense of like I did all this myself. And like the wildness of it all, yeah, oh wow, I actually can
Yeah.
survive. And,
Yeah.
and again, that wasn't my intention of going. I was like going because I'd watched a David Attenborough documentary. And I was
Yeah.
like, I want to go see the monkeys.
Yeah, I want to go see some monkeys.
Yeah, but as a byproduct of like going through like the total like going from such a structured life to just like really getting thrown in like in the deep end.
Yeah.
And yeah, and at times I hated it, but like again, you know, I say a lot in hindsight, it was like the best thing that ever happened.
No, yeah, 100%.
So I grew up like rapidly.
No, yeah, 100%. I remember when like
But you just kind of sound like that anyway.
Yeah, well, when I first moved out of school, like obviously went from living with parents, boarding school, to then just like moving out, starting full time work.
Yeah.
Just straight off the bat, had to figure out like an apartment, how to do that, how to do like all the shit, and then I went in, and then I got into a really bad car crash, where I was in the hospital for like a week, and and I had to go through the whole insurance ringer. For that, I had to obviously deal with like me fucking having a broken rib and stuff. So it was like. It just like my first 6 months of moving out of home grew me up so much to the point when then now it's like some of my mates they're all starting to move out of home, they're all finishing uni and shit, and then they're like they've always seen me as like a bit more mature than them, and I was like, no, it's literally I was just only a product of my circumstance. Like I'm not like a smarter guy than you. I was forced to just grow up.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I would have been having to move back home, and I didn't want to do that, so I like had to figure out how to pay my rent. And I had to figure out how to fucking work a full-time job with being social, and obviously the car crash and the whole insurance just honestly that whole insurance thing was like so stressful. But then at the end of it, like ended up being on top of everything. And then any other insurance issue that I ever have in life, I'm like, oh, I know exactly how these guys are gonna work. And I like help my mates out with their insurance problems now. I'm like, nah, like give me what's his number?
Let me call him. So did you think like see that? I don't know how like. Did that car crash change your perspective at all? And like,
oh, it changed my religious perspective heaps.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I started. I grew up Catholic. Always went to church because my father's very Catholic, and then but I was never really into it. I was always like, I'm just forced to go. This sucks. But then that car crash was like kind of like fuck, I could have died.
Yeah.
Like, and it kind of like had an existential moment.
Oh, really? Yeah.
And then I like started to. I've actually dived so deep into religion. I read the entire Bible, the Quran, and the Torah.
Oh wow, that's pretty deep.
And I'm not a big reader, but I was like,
that's like the densest.
I know. I was like, fuck, I need to do this. And then I ended up kind of like creating my own little like faith. Not really. I never really kind of joined any of the religions.
Yeah.
I kind of have a background with Catholicism.
Yeah, obviously.
Just because of just I know so much about it and I grew up doing it. So I'm kind of like leaning towards that. But my whole faith is like. Kind of like just a sense of experience. Like we're all like I believe in a higher power, but I believe that I'm on here to experience life, not to devote it to something, but to devote it to myself.
Yeah,
and to just gain experience that comes as a collective when we all like a fourth dimension or whatever. We all come together and then we're like. what life have you lived, like rather than like have you devoted it to me, to him, or to whoever? What life have you lived? Full stop.
Yeah.
And then I can say, oh, I've fucking done all this.
Yeah.
And then I don't want to be like the other guy next to me that's like, oh, I just had a desk job. My whole life, you know,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah.
But-
So then that kind of like that became me a massive doer. I started trying to do a lot of
Yeah,
stuff,
definitely. Yeah.
which has obviously pushed me mentally to try and do the cycle as well.
Yeah.
Is that I want to just experience everything, because I think like experience is kind of knowledge.
Yeah.
Because you can always, it's easy to read something, it's easy to like learn something, but you never really learn it fully unless you do it. So I can read a book about some dude traveling through Europe on a backpacking trip, and like be like, oh, that's cool. I know everything I need to know. You don't, because you're not there in the rain,
Yeah.
dying, thinking hungry, want to sleep. You can't because there's fucking trucks zooming past you in the middle of the highway.
Yeah.
And like you're never really gonna know that unless you do it. And I want to be able to say I've done it, so that I know it. And then as I move through life, the lessons I learn from that will make me a better person than if I didn't do it.
I think also like massively chills you out as well, in the sense of like, you know, when you put yourself through such extreme. I mean, you maybe already had it with your car crash, but like when you go through such extreme moments of like maybe like suffering, maybe too extreme a word to use, but like, you know, hardship.
Just hardship, yeah.
Yeah, whether you put yourself through that or not, like, oh, dude, it totally changes you.
Oh,
Definitely. Then
definitely.
everything else in work, like I obviously work in an office just now, and like we get a flat tire. I'm like, obviously in the perspective of work, I'm like, right, cool, we need to fix this straight away. But in like when other people might be like, oh, like stop it, I'm
This
like,
is gonna ruin our
it's a
day.
flat
Yeah.
tire.
No,
Like,
just chill out.
but
Yeah,
you haven't been in a car
100%,
crash, or
100%. I think like so many people, especially like obviously because I've done a lot of like, I feel as though I'm quite young. I'm 24, but
Yeah.
like I've obviously done a lot of stuff already. I see a lot of people who are younger than me and they're wanting to do all this stuff as well.
Yeah.
You can kind of see the way they're thinking pre the experience that I've had. So like the way I would look at their situation, be so calm with it all, because I know it's gonna be alright.
Yeah.
While I'm watching them being like, oh fuck, like what do I do?
yeah.
I'm like, and you kind of like just chill out. It's gonna be
Yeah.
alright. It's gonna be alright. But like it's such a weird way of having it's like a weird sense of maturity,
Yeah.
especially with me with such a young age. Like I feel as though it's like some people always get so surprised with that I've done so much stuff, but it's like I don't know. I don't like sitting still.
Yeah.
I don't like sitting still. Like I watched that movie Groundhog Day as a kid,
Yeah.
where he like repeats the same day over and
Yeah.
over again, and then
Sorry.
towards the end of it, he starts to realize that the day may always be the same, but it's what you do with the day that makes the
Yeah.
difference. And so I just kind of like started. I was like, oh fuck, I don't want every day to be the same.
Yeah.
I want to every day we're learning something towards something else, or doing something that's makes experience.
Yeah.
And so I've always kind of had that mindset of never living the same day.
Yeah. But
And
some people do.
they do, and it's fucking. It's
Yeah.
probably
Or
one of the
like
like
this-
paranoid
yeah.
fears of mine. Is
Even like the same weekend, like I remember when I was like, honestly, exactly what you just said there. Like when I was probably like, without being patronizing, like your age, because I'm 31 now, and I was like or actually even younger. Sorry, probably from like 18 to like 23. Dude, I was just doing the same stuff every weekend. And see, for a point in time, I enjoyed it, like going out, getting drunk, whatever.
yeah.
And then I remember like it wasn't like a eureka moment, but I remember just like sometimes I'd be like, I'm like literally doing the same.
No, yeah.
Monday to Friday's the same. Saturday, Sunday's the same. And then like going back to what you were saying about the like, you know, like going to wherever we go to afterwards and being like, I live my life. Like I think this is David Goggins concept. I remember listening to him and he was talking about how like, so his analogy was I think he's religious, and he was like, you get to the pearly white gates and God's sitting there and he's got like a clipboard and he's like, so what did you do with your life? And you're like, oh, I worked in an office. And not that that's a bad thing, but you're like, I did a few things. And he's like, oh, cool, well, you were supposed to do all this other stuff.
This was the potential you had, yeah.
Exactly, the potential you had. Like, I think that I've heard that somewhere else, was just like...
No, it's in those motivational speeches where it's like the graveyard is the most richest place in the world because it's where dreams never happen.
Yeah.
And like it's 100% a fear of mine to be, you go to the pearly white gates and there's the ultimate you that has done all of his potential. Then there's you, and then there's probably like the worst you.
Yeah.
You don't want to you never want to be the worst you, but you would hate still being not the potential.
Yeah.
And I don't really look at my sense of like faith like that. I think of my sense of faith is like we all have the same soul,
Yeah.
and and when we reach that fourth dimension, that soul kind of comes together, and everything we learned as individuals comes together to make that person, that like entity. And I believe that entity is God,
Yeah.
and that like the knowledge that we live as a life contributes to that. And I want that God to be like, oh, Joe Rainey, he actually made a bigger impact on us as a God
Yeah.
than anybody else did, because he went and lived these lives.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a comparison against the ultimate person of me and the non-ultimate person. It was like, I just want to contribute to a part of something bigger than myself that I'll never fully understand, but on an individual level, know that we have the same soul. So I'm going to be a nice person to everybody, but then also the way I'm going to live my life as just by myself without thinking of anybody else is to get experience, like learn stuff, experience new things, live, laugh, love, just enjoy it. Just like, just live a life full and not half asking anything.
Yeah.
So then when I'm on the deathbed, or when you go to that fourth dimension, you kind of like you know you've lived. You know you've contributed to something bigger than yourself. You weren't an asshole to everybody. You were loved. You were like this whole like the ultimate picture type of thing. And that's where I look at it as is I don't really have a sense of comparison. It's more of like a well, I guess it is a sense of comparison actually. Like I just don't want to be not doing anything with my life. I don't want to let life come to me. I want to let me come to life.
Yeah.
Type of thing. Like I think Timothy Chalamet said the quote, like happiness is when you realize life is coming from you, not at you.
Yeah.
And that's so true.
Yeah.
Like you are the person that's going to make your life what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And if you want something, you just literally have to take the one foot in front of the other to get there. Everybody thinks it's I just gotta do one thing and then I'm set. It's like, no, it's always about the next step. It's like when you're running the marathon. It's not about the 40 Ks you're gonna run. It's the 5.
Yeah.
It's the 5 in front of you. It's the next 5 in front of you. You just got to think of that the whole time.
Yeah.
And that's why like I'm gonna do this cycling thing, because I have no idea what I'm gonna do after this cycling thing.
Probably just something else.
Probably, who knows? I'm gonna figure it out probably when I'm cycling.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm only really worried. Like I've got the next like 6 months planned until the cycling, and then I got the cycling trip.
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna be at Everest base camp. What's next?
Yeah, but you'll probably find like in doing that, like something you'll meet someone or an idea. Because the thing is, like you're putting yourself in a position to just open so many more like possible experiences than if you were just back in NZ doing the real estate thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
because I think I've now kind of got out of the mentality of like I need to know like the next move, because like often like while you're doing the thing you're doing, like something else will come up and you're like, oh yeah, like I could dive off in this direction.
No, I think there's that quote from Night at the Museum where it's like, I don't know what I'm gonna do tomorrow, and Robin Williams is like, how exciting.
Yeah, true.
And it's like that's literally it. Like I might get to the Everest Base Camp, 25th birthday, just turned 25. I'm now quarter life. What do I do tomorrow?
Yeah,
and it's like, how exciting. Like I don't know. Like I literally got the next 75 years to figure out what I want to do.
Yeah.
And I definitely don't like. I've always kind of said this is going to be like a bit of a last hurrah for the 2 years traveling.
Yeah.
But it's not going to be the last hurrah ever.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to kind of obviously get back into a bit of career, get some money going for it and whatnot, but not have it as like this is it. This is the end of me traveling, or me putting myself in uncomfortable situations. I want to go do like a South African trip or something like that. Do something cool through that. And I think it's one of David Goggins' like friends. He said that if you just plan like one really extreme trip or extreme hike or something like that once every 2 months, by the end of the year you'll have 6 stories to tell, versus someone else won't have any stories to tell. And it's not like you're doing it every day or every week. It's every 2 months. It's easy to plan for. It's 1 or 2 days just doing something extreme, and then at the end of it all you'll have six stories to tell every year. Over 10 years it's 60 stories, all different, all unique, and then I can just contribute to one under my faith experience.
Yeah.
And then, but also a lot of people just like the sense of just getting outside, going and doing something. And that's definitely what I want to try and do, is just always have something happening to look forward to as
Yeah.
well, but also to like kind of just create who I am. Because everyone, you are a product of your environment and also what you do, and how you handle what is happening to you, and you just got to put yourself in the situations of those three things. Do something that's cool in an environment that you like with people you love, and also handle it well.
Yeah.
And then that's
That's
like,
a solid.
yeah, that's literally
You're
it.
so much. Mate, see, when I was 24, again, not patronizing, but I was honestly so not as mature as you. I was like, older, and this is. I feel like I'm now on that same wavelength, but I'm now like, 7 years older. Like I was not 24, and I was 24, and I was still in the like mind was all over the place, having panic attacks because of whatever reason I'd made up in my head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like being 24 and already like dialing all that out. That's super
Yeah,
impressive.
I don't know. People always say that to me. I've never really like
It's funny because I always said I've known you for a short period, and it's like I've seen like the
two different sides. Yeah, you see me pissed drunk,
yeah,
like
me
being
too,
being a
yeah.
24-year-old, and then here I am just spitting bars.
Because I was the same. I was back from my sister's wedding a few weeks ago in London, and I met my brother-in-law, all his like mates. But obviously, I was like on the like piss, and I was like, God, man, I need to meet these people again. Not that I did. I hope I didn't do anything wild, but like more just because there are two sides to you, and you're like, oh, man, I need to meet them sober so that I can be like, hey, I'm not actually like.
I'm not just a massive pisshead. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely. I think a lot of people, especially out here, like it's so easy to just get caught up in just drinking and whatnot.
Yeah.
So it's like a lot of the time you'd meet people when you're drunk, when you're having a good time, and then when you're sitting down like at like wherever it may be, like you're on the way to do a hike with them or something like that, you're dead sober, nothing is, and then they like start asking like, oh, what do you do? And then you start like talking to them normally, and they're like, oh, I just thought I thought you were this wild kid, like. I was like, oh, I am a wild kid, but I just like, I'm just I don't know. I've matured a lot through obviously what I've done. I went through like a massive identity crisis when I was like 16.
Yeah.
Because my family was moving around a lot.
Right. Okay.
And I was like, I'm such a social guy, and like I feed off so much like my friends in my life.
Yeah.
And like I'm mature enough now to know that, but at the time I was just like, fuck, like why am I unhappy? Like, and it's because we were moving around a lot. I didn't have friends everywhere we went, and I was like, why am I unhappy? Why am I lonely? Like, blah blah. And then I kind of like, I think I forget what like really was the moment, but I started to realize like, oh, it's me, myself, and the world, and then whoever wants to be part of my life can be. And I kind of started really focusing on trying to make myself happy and trying to figure out what I wanted to do for myself. That then kind of just prompted me to kind of mature a bit with understanding myself. So then I started kind of having like a deep dive with myself, and that's when I got into
16.
At 16,
That's
yeah,
wild.
and that's when I started getting into my running, because
Right, okay,
that was when I started kind of going for runs and getting into my like into kind of like that self therapy with just like I'm bored, I fucking need, I'm my head's racing, like I'm having these like. Nothing bad, nothing like. I was just like, I'm lonely. Like I got no friends. Like why don't I have friends? Like I'm not a bad guy, am I? Like
well,
but I was just obviously I was like, I'm going for these runs. Went for these runs, and then I forget when it was, but I remember just kind of saying to myself, I feel my best when I'm laughing. I am like, the only time I'm really laughing is when I'm around people being like just being funny, like having a good laugh. And then I kind of said, kind of like the whole life is coming from you, not at you. The only way to kind of control that feeling is to be the person that's in charge of it.
Yeah.
And so I kind of came up with the saying, if you want to laugh, no, make people laugh and you'll laugh more. Type of thing. So then and it came from a selfish standpoint where I was like, I just want to feel good. I just want to make myself feel good. But then every time I tell somebody that, like, oh, you're so generous. Like, oh, good on you for like making people laugh.
Yeah.
It's like, nah, I just want to make myself feel good.
Yeah.
And so I've always kind of had that self-understanding of what makes me tick. And then obviously I've pushed that through my whole life, knowing how to handle myself with like having like, you say you have a bad day. No, I know what to do to make myself feel better. I know like who I want to be as a person when I walk in a room. I don't want to be the guy that's, oh, hey guys, just here, I'm just here. No, I want to be the guy that fucking glows through the room. I want to be the guy that like, and it is a bit of like like arrogance or narcissism, like just like you want kind of the attention. But at the end of the day, it's like it is you against the world,
Yeah.
and that's why I always say to myself is, I want to make myself the best version of myself, not only just for me, but for the people around me as well.
Yeah.
Because no point in you getting a partner or getting friends, and you are a lesser version. Because it's just like, why do that? Why be anything but the better version of yourself?
Yeah.
Because the people around you, if they don't like the best version of yourself, then they're not the friends for you.
Yeah.
But if they do, then you know they're there for life, and
Yeah.
like it type of thing. And so I've always kind of had, and this from 16 onwards, I had that kind of self view, and then obviously had the crash when I was 18.
Yeah.
So then I had like a religious view as well, which
Yeah.
doubled down on my understanding myself, because it was kind of like, it's as an individual gaining your experience to contribute to that entity. But then I had a sense of self-understanding that then allowed me to kind of put it all together to create who I am now, which then I can just go off and do things and be happy to be by myself doing it, as well as know that when I come back to reality, I can have this sense of stories to tell and be happy with what I've done. And it also helps me know that I'm going to fucking hate some parts of it, but I know how to get through it.
Yeah.
And that just 100% just created the mentality that I've got now.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of honestly had a super similar thing. Like, again, at a much later stage, like I was 23, it's kind of a similar thing. Like, won't bore the details, but like I was making poor choices, and long story short, I was just like having panic attacks like every day, and I kind of had, I guess, like an identity crisis, but it wasn't from like a lack of friends. It was from like not knowing what the hell was going on in my mind.
Yeah.
And it's funny how you say, like, you know, when you felt like that, that's how you got into running. And it was the same for me. Like, and I'm super oversimplifying the process, but like, 2 years later, effectively, it was like, realized that like sport was like the one thing that, like, if I feel shit, go a run. And not necessarily like feel like 100%. But it's funny how like the like sport, like it seems to be like like cardio or sport or whatever, like for a lot of people, it's like the key thing that they're like, I feel shit, I do this and I feel better.
Yeah, no, I don't know why either. Like, I think
there must be like there's evidently science to it.
There probably is, but we're not scientists to know. So yeah, it's yeah, I've always found just getting out there doing things. I'm a big social butterfly, so like just getting up, being social would definitely fix a lot of things.
Yeah.
Especially if like,
so you're more extroverted.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense knowing you, but yeah.
Yeah, definitely extroverted. Like everyone always tells me like, just calm down, stop doing shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I feel fine. I feel fine. But then like I'll go disappear for 2 days, because then like it's like my social clock clicks off.
Oh, okay, right, cool.
So it's definitely like I'm like a 5-day social animal. Like I'm always around people, and then it's like, all right, I'm done. And then like 2 days, I'll just go be just doing my own thing. A lot of the time, it's just I need to catch up on admin for my life.
Yeah, true.
I just need to go do my washing. I need to go fucking like reply to work stuff. I need to go like sort out my fucking taxes back home or something like that. It's like I actually need to go step away to sort my life out, and then I can come back and be social and whatnot. So that's
I wonder how the social aspect of it will be when you're doing the cycle then, because it's obviously like, it's kind of like, because I'm not in it. I wouldn't say I'm that. I always describe myself as being like a very social, antisocial person, in the sense that like, I can be like super extroverted if I'm in the situation, but like my go-to is like, I could like chill at the house and read a book.
Yeah.
But when I was traveling, and obviously you've already got this, but you'll get this again when you're like doing the cycle, is like doing that and you're by yourself, like you're forced to like, if I don't make the effort to talk to people, I'm just not going to talk to anyone today.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think mine will definitely be it depends how tired I do get from the run, from the cycling. It could be some days where I'm just like, I'm knackered. Like I actually do want to just go to bed.
Yeah.
But there'll probably be some days where like, it's an easy cycle. It's all downhill.
Yeah.
Like I got wind in my back, sort of thing. So it's like, I'm like, it's easy. So
you keep getting
and then I could like 100% have like a bit like, oh, I want to go. I'm in this tiny town in the middle of Spain. Let's go see what happens, And then I would like, that's gonna be me getting my social butterfly out. Is like I'm gonna put myself in situations to one, make friends, make some memories with people. Who knows, with the good or bad, could get completely robbed of all my shit. And like, oh fuck. You don't know. You don't know. But that's the joy of it. It's like you just like, I don't know what's gonna happen. And that's why and I think being an extrovert would 100% help with making the most of the experience.
Yeah.
Because if I was an introvert and I'm going off and doing this intense thing,
Yeah.
you're gonna fucking hate it. I reckon it's just not what you do.
But I think that was probably I think that was me when I was first in India, because I didn't know that I had to. No, I didn't know, but I wasn't extroverted, so I was doing exactly what you just said there, where I was like introverted and also in a totally foreign country by myself, and it was just like.
Yeah.
It was just like the mentality that I had was like getting worse as opposed to like making me feel better.
Yeah. No.
But yeah, so you're doing the cycle, and then so you're finishing where?
I finished in Oslo,
Norway, yeah, sorry.
Norway.
And then you're gonna fly to.
Then I'll fly from there to Kathmandu.
Right, cool.
And then I hike from Kathmandu up at base camp. Yeah. Well, I think there's like you get a bus to like one of the towns outside, but Kathmandu is basically right at the base of the Himalayas.
Did you see what happened in Kathmandu the other day?
The floods.
Yeah.
Yeah. I heard that was because there was a massive avalanche, and then it like all fell down, and then because it was so much lower, it melted. And
yeah. So I went to Nepal like 2017 or 18, and I remember like when I first went there, dude. One of the few places where like Nepal is like 100% one of those places I would go back to in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
It's because it's so authentic. It's like again, like I'd been to like at this point in time, no, I hadn't, but like having now been to Thailand and Cambodia and stuff like that, it feels quite inauthentic in the sense like it's just so touristy. Whereas Nepal was like you're like one of the few white men. Which is quite nice.
No, I'm very keen to go. Like, it's
but when I was there, like I remember being like I was chatting to these two guys in the hostel, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna do this like." This hike, and I can't remember what it was called. Maybe it was like Lombok or something like that.
Yeah.
But there had been like a landslide there last year, and I was like, why the fuck would you do that? Like, there's a landslide there, and it wasn't until I was like chatting to a few people and had been there for a couple of days, I was like, oh, there's landslides everywhere.
Everywhere, yeah, it happens all the time.
I was chatting to this. I kind of embarrass myself as well. So we're in this like what I would describe as a pub, but it was like a shack. And I was trying to like chat up this girl who she was from the Mauritius, so like quite tanned, and her eyes were like bright blue, like shockingly blue. So anyway, like me, immature being young, I was like,
you're gorgeous.
Yeah, I tried to make a comment about her eyes, and she was like, yeah, they're contacts, and I was like, well. but what had happened was when I actually got chatting to her, she'd been in Nepal the year before, when they had like a mad earthquake, and she was just like, I just got stuck here for like months.
Oh wow!
Because it was all like, emergency first kind of scenario. So like, there's no like, hey, we're gonna get flights out here.
Yeah, wow, yeah.
It's like truly amazing. But like, I definitely would say like, I'm less so now, but I used to be a massive hypochondriac, and like Nepal like shocks that out of you.
Yeah. Because it would, yeah.
Because there's just like.
Something always happening. Like something that if it happened back home, it'd be like, whoa. Yeah.
But when I went there, like, so when I went there, dude, I didn't even know that hiking was really a thing. That's so stupid to say, because like, what else would you do? But I was ignorant to the world.
Yeah.
Kinda. And I got there, and everyone was like, oh, like, yeah, we were going this hike, we were doing that hike, we were doing that. So I was like, oh, I guess I'll tag along.
Yeah. That was me when I came here. Kind of like, I've always been a massive skier, and I came for the ski season.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh no, I'll stay for the summer. Moved to Banff, and then like everyone's like, "Oh, we're doing a hike." I'm like, "Oh, I've never hiked before." Like, right?
Really?
Really, never did.
You're from New Zealand?
Yeah, I'm from Oz.
Oh, sorry, dude. Sorry.
Yeah.
Why did I think
Gabby's from New Zealand.
Oh, okay, right. Sorry.
But
Oz you from?
Well, that's the thing. We moved around a lot, so mainly I moved out of home to Sydney.
Oh, sorry.
So Sydney was my base.
Talking about New Zealand.
Yeah. No, but I've never done any hikes or anything like that.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Yeah, Australia.
Until really came here, and then I did it, and then I was like, this is fucking fun as. Like, I love this. And then I just literally just started just going massive on the hikes.
Yeah.
Just like, I think I did like 7 in 7 days or something like that. Like, and big ones too. And that was a big, like, everyone kept on saying, like, oh, I don't know how you do it. Like, you're doing like 8-hour hikes back to back.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't know. I'm just like, I'm not that sore after.
Yeah.
And that's what gave me a lot of confidence for the cycling.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I can do these things that like people are saying I shouldn't be able to do.
Mm.
And it's like, okay, that give me confidence, but I'm not anything special. Like, I don't have like an insane genome in my body that's gonna like push me there. It's just like, I don't know. I guess I just got a good head on me, and then like I've done a bit of experience with some endurance sports, so it's like I'm not getting gassed.
I wonder why. Yeah, I was gonna say, I wonder why like a lot of people think they can't do stuff.
I don't know.
I even see my sisters who are like, we're all from the same family, and they would still probably, I might be speaking for them now, but I feel like they would probably don't think that they could do what I've done, and they 100% could. And maybe I'm wrong, maybe they do think
No,
that, and they
yeah.
just never
No,
say
I
it,
think it's the same. Like, I think a lot of people from back home, so some of my mates, they're just like, they think it's just like so hard to come out and do what I'm doing now.
yeah.
But it's like, it's really not. You just gotta like, just, it's one foot in front of the other. You just go like, all right, visa sorted. All right, housing.
Yeah.
Email a bunch of people.
Well, that's what, yeah, it's probably
Like-
that puts people, even like with the endurance stuff, like it's probably stuff like that puts you off because you're like, because none of it's rocket science, but it's always like you need to do this thing, and then when that's done, you need to do this thing.
Yeah.
Like for you, so like obviously you're like, you need to get a bike, you need to get flights, you need to plan where you're going to go, you need a route, you need you need the food, you need so like I think
Yeah.
for a lot of people they're probably like,
It's too much, yeah.
But then I guess that comes back to your mentality of like, I'm gonna die one day. I want to make sure.
To be honest, it's not until you just start saying like all the stuff. I'm like, oh fuck, there's actually a lot to sort out.
But
like it's literally like I just know it's like I just need to do one thing at a time.
Yeah.
Like it's not everybody. I think everybody gets really bogged down by because they ask somebody for help and they go, oh this. They make a list for them and they just go, fuck. That's so much. But one of it's like, go to this website. It's like one of them is like so simple.
Yeah.
And people just like. I think it's people just get really just overwhelmed sometimes with how much stuff they need to sort out. But a lot of the time it's just stuff you can sort out in 5 minutes or devote a whole day to doing it all. It's just like I think it's just that whole overwhelming factor that gets people.
Yeah, I've definitely had that. Like now I think about it, where people have given even like probably for example my dad's given me experience.
Like work to do.
No, like advice or like they're like. I don't know, like I'm making something up, but I'm like, hey, I'm doing 100 miles. And they're like, oh, well, here's all this information. And you're like, I definitely have at times been like,
fuck that. No.
It's actually kind of like off-putting because you're like, you're kind of killing me here with this.
Yeah, you're like, oh, this is way better when I was ignorant.
Yeah, no, like I was doing, and I guess, so I'm doing the swim next year, and then I was kind of like getting a little bit overloaded with it lately. But then I was like, right, I was chatting to this coach, and he was like, do these two things. And it was literally like do this interval swim and then do this like just like swim for an hour as fast as you can. I remember being a bit overwhelmed by it. I know it sounds really simple, but then I did them and I did them pretty well. So I was like, oh
yeah,
sweet.
yeah, mad, yeah.
But then I was totally overanalyzing the entirety of the thing after chatting with someone about it because he was like, you need to think about the this and the boat and the time and you only and I was like, I kind of came out of it. The guy was super helpful and obviously he probably hopefully will help me going forward, but. I think when he was kind of talking to someone who knew exactly about the whole project and them just like kind of giving you it all in one go, was a bit like, holy shit, like I wasn't really thinking.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Kind of similar to you, where like, in hindsight, I'm like, obviously that makes sense, but I'd never had someone just like give it to me.
Like, yeah, especially when you're figuring it out as you go, I think I'm a big believer in like, I learn the best through doing it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And like someone may give me all the answers, and it's just like great, but I'm still gonna go do it my way and then figure it out. Like I'll obviously take advice from people, but I definitely just learn it through doing. I think there was a saying, I forget the exact quote, but it's like smart people learn from others. Average people learn by doing, and dumb people already have all the answers.
That's really sweet.
And so it's like I've always been there's a bit of like self modesty, like I'm a dumb person, I got all the answers. It's because I do things just like without looking sometimes. Like, I'm just gonna go fucking do this whatever it may be, go run this marathon in my fucking vans. After
have you run a marathon in your van?
Yeah. What? Oh no, not a marathon. It was the City to Surf in Sydney.
Right. Yeah.
I did it after a bender of a night out.
Oh, well, it's like the least bad thing you did there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it was like a massive night out, and then forgot I signed up for the City to Surf. I was like,
at least you still did it.
And then I was like, fuck, I just rocked up, got my roommate to grab my like little bib for me, bring it to the thing, just saw her, and we're like, right, and she wasn't a big runner, and I was like doing the whole like athletics thing at the time, and I was like, oh fuck, this is gonna be a piece of cake. And then was like, just did it, and then I was like, I'll just stick with you the whole time, because I've just coming off, I'm on a bit of a come down, and I'm fucking Vans. This might actually give me a lot of blisters. Yeah. And then I ended up just like, oh yeah, see, I'm just gonna smash it, and then just started like running off, and like I did it like a I think it was like an hour and 10 minutes for 13 kilometers.
Oh, right, okay.
Something like that. It wasn't like massively impressive.
That's still decent.
But it was like I was like with people like full go out like running gear.
Yeah.
And like
where are you fucked after?
yeah. Oh no, I was.
Or you just get back on it.
I just was so sweet. I was like,
oh, cute.
I started actually going. I went to the pub straight after.
Yeah.
I just had a couple of beers after with
Yeah.
some mates that also did it. They're like, you were in that outfit last night. And I was like, yeah.
I also think as well, like, I never thought, you know, when people get older, and I don't know if you're there yet, but when people get older, they're like, I need to stretch my back. And I remember honestly thinking about it, I was like, can't we, like, surely not.
Yeah.
Dude, see now, like, I'm honestly, like, I've got this back thing going on. Like, like, before you were here, I was doing this, like, core stability thing. That's not even, like, that's just me to get through the day.
Yeah,
but, but I think obviously it's because you and I, like, we do, I mean, you're, like, living in a place like here where everyone's like outdoors and you're constantly doing like activities.
Yeah.
You know, like obviously if I was probably sitting around doing nothing, it'd be
every
fine,
day. Yeah.
But it's kind of like.
No, I remember I remember 2020. I did my knee really badly. I like fully like hyperextended it, and like busted my hamstring from surfing. Actually,
Oh, really? Yeah.
I went I tried to go under a wave and it pulled me back, and then my board came and hit my knee and it just folded up. Had to like went to the hospital. They're like, yeah, nothing's broken, but you've definitely done some like ligament damage and stuff. Went to got an MRI, and apparently I did like everything in the knee. Like everything just had like it might have been minor in some of them, major in others.
Yeah.
But the big one was my hamstring, where it was only connected through that little tendon down there. Like the rest of it was all blown out.
Yeah.
And I remember just going to physio for like I couldn't walk or anything for like a month. Like 4 weeks. I think it was like 5 weeks. I actually couldn't walk. Then I started getting like a stiff brace, and then went to physio like a month after that. And then it was the whole idea that I was this close to getting surgery, but the only reason I didn't was because I have a background in sport that my calf muscles and my glute and quad muscles were strong enough to make my knee stable. Oh, wow. Without having the surgery, because the whole thing, obviously if you do every single ligament, they're obviously so shaky. But my quad, glute, and calf muscles had enough strength in them to be able to give it stability while it's healed. And then obviously once I started walking and stuff, the ligaments obviously get back together.
How is it now?
Oh, it's sweet. I'm like I went to the physio and was like, that's actually probably my only cycling experience is when I did my knee, because that's the best thing for your knee is cycling. So I just was always on the bike at the gym. But I went to the physio and he's like, oh, what level do you want your knee to get to? Because this is a serious injury. Do you want to like, you'll feel this like for the rest of your life? And I was like, fuck.
Oh, really?
I was like, fuck, I don't know. No, I've got like this whole running career.
I know.
I was like, oh, fuck, no. But that was when I said no to the whole like making the Olympic team. I was like, no, I'm not gonna make that, and I wasn't even probably gonna make it anyway. Yeah. But that's when I was like, oh, now I've got a reason. Now I have a reason to say no.
Yeah, I remember when I was doing the track and field, I got remember, well, you probably still do, but I had spikes and you could customize the Nike ones. Mine were literally like flames and all this on it, but on the back of them I had 2012 because I was like in my head at whatever age I was like, I'm gonna be in the Olympics. And I remember like maybe harshly, like I was like a relative of someone, like she was like my dad's cousin or something. I don't even think it was that. Anyway, some relative, but like kind of distant, was in my grand's house, and I remember like being a little kid and like, I'm gonna be in the Olympics, and she was like, no, you're not. And I remember like in hindsight now, I'm like, why would you say that? Even if you didn't think you, why would you say that to a kid? It's, it's funny how like random memories stick with you.
Yeah,
that has always stuck with me that she said that.
No, definitely. I remember.
But that's my excuse. I mean, she said I could.
Yeah, well, I remember the physio was like, "What level do you want to get leg to?" And I was like, and he was like, "Oh, do you just want to be able to lift weights? Do you want to play like touch footy?
Yeah.
Like, well, what's your hobby sport?" And I was like, I had a desk job, so I was like, I'm not. And I was like, oh, I did running. Like, he goes, yeah, running's fine. Like, just running straight's fine. But do you want to be able to like play touch or like basketball or something like that? Like, because this is a lot of stability stuff on your knee. And I was like, oh, I want to ski. And he goes, fuck.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, I know.
He goes, fuck me. Why'd you pick the hardest thing?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, it's just my sport. And he goes, righto, well, like, I guess I'm gonna be seeing you for the next year. And then it only took 9 months for my leg to get better because my other muscles were already strong.
Yeah.
And so then after that 9 months, went and did a ski trip with some mates. and it was like a big test. Like, oh fuck, this is what if my knee fucks up here, then it's like, all right, skiing's done for me. Did the whole ski trip, not a single issue. If anything, I hurt my other leg.
Yeah.
And then I was basically just like walked back into the physio, was like gave the guy a massive hug, was like, "You're a fucking best man. I just did the whole ski trip, fucking oath."
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh really? Did it actually fly?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's sweet." Like, and he's like, "Oh man!" And then like straight after then, I decided, "Oh, I'm gonna do a ski season." Did a whole.
Oh, so this is recent.
Yeah, well, 2020 I did the leg.
Oh, sorry, yes, so you said that.
And then it wasn't until 2020, end of 2021 when it was good.
Yeah.
So it's like I did the leg, so it's like a full 18 months before the leg was like solid.
Yeah.
And then so 2022 hit, and then after that it was like end of 22, and I was like, you know what, next European winter I'll go do a season. And so then like here we are, the 2023 2024 season.
Yeah.
I did the ski season in Big White, and it was like, obviously I knew the knee was sweet for like skiing a week or something like that, but I was like, a whole season might really wear it down, and I might do something.
Did you have any injuries at all?
I had one little tweak with it when I accidentally ran into a fucking tree.
What?
I hit like 5 trees in the season.
Right, okay, yeah.
But this one was like a big one where I tried to like hit this jump, and like it was like a hidden log. I thought it was just a mound of snow, but it was a hidden log, and I thought I'd go straight off it, but it like bent, it sent me sideways, and went straight into this cluster of trees, and my leg just like twisted up a little bit to the point where it's like, oh, it's a tinge, like, oh, I know nothing's bad in it, but like, fuck.
Yeah, I think that's like, when I get to the end of a ski season here, like I almost start going less because I'm like, I've got away with it.
Yeah,
it's like a stupid mentality, but I'm so, because having lived here for like 4 years now, like I've had friends like fracture their neck, break their arms, collarbones, wrists.
Yeah,
and I'm just like, and especially because I do have this ongoing back thing.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit like, because I enjoy doing other things. Probably like, honestly, I probably enjoy running and stuff like that more in the summer than I do enjoy snowboarding.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, I just think I'm like,
don't want to ruin the summer. Yeah,
and it's the same, like, so like, you know, for the thing that you're cycling and the hike, and for me just like the swim or whatever the next thing I want to do after that, like if I like seriously injured myself and I don't know what I'd do, like,
yeah, no,
so I think with these things, and I'd be interested to get your opinion on this, because like I find like, see when I don't, like, I was saying this to my friend the other night, like, see when you do these kind of things, like what you're doing now, see when I do stuff like that, obviously I've maybe not done that exact thing, but like doing an Ironman for say, like I get like, it almost like gives my life like a bit more like positivity and energy in it. Just because I don't know, like I've got this goal that I'm working for, and I'm physically getting stronger mentally, but it's all because of this thing that I've planned to do. Whereas like the years, you know, I've always kind of like, just by honestly just the way they fell, like I've done, like it's always been a few years apart, and I was finding like, see around about the halfway point where like the next goal, if you will, is too far away to like get into
the training or whatever it may be for it. Wow. Yeah, no, 100%. That's why I like the whole doing one thing every 2 months in a year, kind of like, it doesn't have to be massive. It's just like, once give you one thing to look forward to, then after the fact you're like, fuck yeah.
Yeah. Have
like
you got?
Well, the big thing is obviously coming over here. It's obviously during the winter season, and then just doing a lot of traveling during the winter season to see other ski hills.
Yeah.
Is like the next step, and then after that, it's the cycling.
Yeah.
But then after the cycling, it's like,
yeah, what?
Don't know.
Yeah.
Go back to mum and dad's farm, maybe just chill out there for a bit.
Have you got an idea? And not to make you think of like beyond the next goal, because I know that's year away. Do you have an idea, like something else? You're like, oh, maybe when I've done this, I'll try.
Well, I really want to end up making a business one day.
Okay.
Like I want to make a business. So I kind of, after I moved back home, visas all up, you know, probably chill out for a little bit, just like detox from like just the whole cycling thing. It's like I just need to not go anywhere, like, because I do feel as though, like, I don't know this, I may come back off the cycling thing and be like, fucking wait, what's next? But I'm kind of preparing myself to just go home, chill with family, and just relax, like not just kind of sit out, chill out with the dogs, be like an old man for a couple months, and then essentially come after that, want to get straight into that kind of building something, building a business or something like that, and obviously I would have grown up so much for the cycling. Who knows where that would take me as well?
Mate.
That could 100% lead into the next chapter.
You may do something like that, and then it gives you the business idea. Someone
Yeah.
might meet you, but,
Yeah.
oh,
Yeah.
we'll
It's like,
do
oh,
like your
that's
videography
mad.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. It's like there's no real set plan, but I know I want to get knuckled down into building something, into doing something less about experience and less and more about achievement, so to
Yeah.
speak. Be like, obviously, I'm gonna obviously be experiencing everything as I'm doing it, but have something to show as a physical sense rather than like I've done this, so I can't really show you anything
Yeah,
except
you
for
can't show your
photos
experience.
or
Yeah.
like or who I've become afterwards.
Yeah.
I want to say like, hey, I've built a business and here's that business I've got. Like, here's the office.
Yeah.
Here's whatever it may be.
Do you know what you'd want it to be in, or are you kind of open to like?
Kind of very open. I would love
was-
for it to be media based.
Yeah, you were saying a bit of videography.
Something along those lines would just be ticking so much of like my personality boxes, like just having a creative outlet for that. But I'm such a social person, which is why I got into real estate back home, and so I love just chatting to people and everything like that. So I want to kind of like the goal is to make a business that would then incorporate all of my personality
Yeah.
traits, so then I'll never feel like I'm working.
Yeah.
But
I've watched sometimes when I train, I watch these motivational videos. As sad as that probably is to say, but one of them, there's a quote from Conor McGregor who, like, may be flawed in some aspects, but he says this thing where he's like, what did he say? He was like, I don't live. No, what was it? He's like, I don't work, I live.
yeah,
Because he loves what he does. So he's like, I don't have a job, I just live my life.
yeah, and just having to get paid
And
for it.
honestly, like, as simple as it is, I'm like, that's what you want. Like,
Yeah.
you know, and I think that's where, like, yeah, that's definitely where I'm at now. Where I'm maybe like a little bit. This may be a little bit like, I don't know if nihilistic is the right term, but effectively, I'm like, I'm gonna die one day. You know, I know that's super brutal, but I'm like, and am I really supposed to just do a job that and I'm not talking about my current role, but just like generalizing this, am I really supposed to just do something that I don't even really particularly care
Don't
about?
really like about it, yeah.
If I'm actually gonna, you know, we were chatting about the whole pearly white gates thing, like, I'm really back and be like, because without getting too deep into it, like, I'm actually not religious. Like, you know, I think there is maybe like I do think there's like something, I believe in something. I'm like,
Yeah.
sure, the Big Bang Theory, I believe that, all that jazz. But I'm like, yeah, but there must be
something more. 100%, that was my thought when I
Yeah.
like got into getting religious.
Yeah.
Obviously, I grew up religious, so I had a background in it, but I would never said I was religious. Now, I don't necessarily say I am religious now. I just have a faith
Yeah.
in something bigger than myself, which is like, and that's why obviously I chat to people who aren't religious all the time, and obviously I know so much about religion because I read all these books.
Yeah.
So they're always like, oh, I just don't get these aspects, and I can 100% answer them.
Yeah.
100% tell people the actual truth behind it all and where it all comes from. But I always take a step back and be like, look, it's not my place to really kind of give you religious guidance, because even if someone came to me and was asking for, like, you know, trying to tell me religious guidance, I wouldn't really be open to it either, because it's like, my faith is my faith. Don't try and, like, you know, I'm living my life very happy how I am right now. Obviously, someone's gone through an existential crisis. Hey, fucking, let's sit down. Let me help you out a bit. But it's everyone's faith is their own.
Yeah.
And people that fall into religion, I find religions and like doctrines very much a fall into, because they don't have the ability to create something of themselves, or like create a faith individual for themselves. And that's not a cop out to anybody that does go to a doctrine.
Yeah.
But it's just I never really felt it was for me. I was like, that may be you, that may be them, that may be some dude 2,000 years ago's belief, but it's not mine.
Yeah.
I 100% see where you're coming from in so many aspects, but it's not me.
Yeah.
So that's why I kind of created my own.
Yeah. And I think like, because I probably don't have what you have, and like, as I say, like, because I don't believe in like the kind of like written idea of like a heaven and stuff like that. I know that I don't know what's I would totally say, like, I don't know what's after.
Yeah.
But I think because I don't know, and I'm like, okay, all I know is that you get a life for like the short period of time you're blessed to have it.
Yeah.
Then I'm like, I just want to make the most of it.
That's 100% like that's why I have the belief in the experience. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I think definitely.
it's just have like, believe that like we're all the same soul. We all contribute to something bigger than ourselves, which is like, gives me a sense of like grounding. Like, it's not all about me. It's about us. But then as an individual, I need to make the most of this life.
Yeah.
And the only way to do that is to go do stuff. Like,
Yeah.
go do whatever you want to do, and it's not a sense of fulfilling of a potential. It's literally doing whatever you want to do. That's the whole idea. I can go live in the woods for a year, do nothing but live in the woods, and that would contribute to my faith just as much as if I was to be going and cycling through Europe, so to speak. Because there's no right or wrong answer with gaining experience. It's just the premise of gaining experience.
Yeah.
Just go do something that's not the same as everybody else. Go do something that's unique.
Yeah.
Be yourself. Be something that's going to make you happy, and that will contribute to this bigger thing.
Yeah.
So it's not, and obviously going and doing a desk job, sure, but go do something that people aren't doing. Build a business. Do something. Go contribute to your life in any way you want. Just make a contribution.
Yeah.
And that's simply it. And that's why I always believe in, when you die or whatever happens afterwards, don't really care either.
Yeah.
It's just that I can say that I've had a life.
Yeah.
I've lived a life that's full of people I love. If people loved me, I loved them. I did a lot of stuff. People around me did a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
It's like I was rich in life, not just in possessions or anything like that.
Just from what you're saying, like, I'd be so surprised, and I may be off the mark here, I'd be so surprised if you do this and then you're like, you don't do something after it.
Yeah, I think
even like outside of building a business, which is a really good thing to do. I think I'd be so surprised if you don't then do another challenge of some description.
Yeah, no, I've always seen these things online of I'm 45 and I went and did this, and then I went and did that, and they've done all these amazing things.
Yeah.
And I was so seeing myself becoming something like that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've always got a goal because we moved around a lot as a family, I've got a goal to nest in a way, to actually find a home.
Yeah, definitely.
Somewhere. Because I was moving around so much, sure, it's great. I'm so easily.
That's probably why you're so social, because you're kind of forced.
I was kind of forced to be, yeah. And it's also allowed me I can pack up and leave very quickly.
Yeah.
I can all my stuff is very much just in a suitcase.
Yeah.
Which makes it easy for when I do a cycling thing. I know I can live without that.
Yeah.
I'm very lightly packed with my possessions. But it's I want to just find just want to have a nest, have a home I come back to all the time. And I know that's not possible unless I can actually put some work into building it. It is very easy for me to just always be up on the go, traveling, doing stuff like that, because I'm social enough to make the friends along the way, and I've had the experience throughout my entire childhood of being on the go. So it's very easy for me to do that, and I know me putting the work in to create a home would be work like anybody else would, but it's something I would probably get more of a kick out than some other people, because it was never something I grew up with. And sure, not to say we were never we never had a home as a family. My family's still very close together, but it was just it was a new place every couple of years.
Yeah.
And you're oh fuck, okay,
Yeah, I was the total opposite of that. My mum and dad still live in the same house that I grew up in.
Yeah.
My sister, Alice, God, wait, so I'm 31, 33, Alice is 35, and she probably won't appreciate me saying that, but Alice is 35, and they've lived in that house as long as she's been alive. So that's what's on my arm, the name of the house.
Oh.
Because they've lived in it. That's, I think, so we had an opposite thing where again, and that's why I think traveling had a big, a shocking impact on me, because I was so used to being this is
home, yeah.
Even now, even though I've lived in Australia, I've travelled, I've lived here for 4 years. Yes, obviously I refer to this place as my home, but home to me is this very unique point.
Yeah.
But obviously, I guess if you've not had that.
Yeah, the place for home for me is really just wherever the parents are.
Yeah, which is nice though.
Yeah, which is the whole saying home isn't a place, it's the people you love.
That's true, yeah.
Which is for me, every time someone said that, I was fuck, that's obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
Duh. But then now it's a lot of people actually didn't have that. But so that's why I don't know, I don't know, it's just so easy for me to get up and go.
Yeah.
Go do stuff.
It's good to see when you're at the end of your trip, when you get to base camp, you're just sitting there. You're gonna be
I'm gonna be. That's the thing. It's gonna be very much what do I do tomorrow?
Yeah,
it's how exciting.
There'll be such a I mean, especially after the cycle,
It's gonna be the
such a
biggest. That's
relief.
something. The feeling I'm gonna get at the end of it, it's just gonna be
Yeah.
second to none. Like I would have completed literally a journey that hardly anybody's ever gonna
Yeah.
complete in their life.
So I did so I went to Nepal and I went to Everest Base Camp, but I didn't go to the hiking one. I did, just because again I was kind of ignorant and I didn't really know the difference. I went to Nepal, but then after Nepal I went to Tibet, and Tibet I went to the base camp on the Tibetan side, but the base camp on the Tibetan side is just a monastery that's at the same elevation, but it's not actually where people like hike from. But I remember again what I was saying about like having my own like kind of like demons at the time, and I remember doing that, and like as I was traveling, I was like still having panic attacks, still like kind of honestly I hate my life to a degree. And then I remember getting to, and I didn't hike at this point. I think I'd done the hike in Nepal, and this was after it. But like to get to this place, we were just like in a very small motor coach, so I wasn't like hiking. I wasn't like physically exerting. But when we got to the Everest base camp that we were at, and I saw Everest, like dude, it was like. It was like weirdly like amongst all the madness that was going on in my mind. I remember being like, because I think I just didn't expect to get there.
Yeah.
I don't know what. It's not that I thought I was gonna die or something, but I think
it's like, whoa, I'm here.
Yeah, I kind of like was like, wow, I didn't actually think I'd get here, because I thought I'd probably bail out because of all the insecurities I was having. And then I got there and I was like, I remember looking at it, and again, like the guide we had was like, the weather was like unreal, like crystal clear, and he was like, "This is like not that common, because obviously it's such high altitude. There's kind of always clouds or something."
Yeah.
And he was like, "Yeah, this is amazing." I remember standing looking at it, and I was like, "It was like I think that was definitely, if I think of it, the point in time where everything slowly started to like trickle into like the more positive direction.
Yeah.
It was definitely looking at that and being like, wow, like I never." And you're gonna have that times 10 because you've actually done like a hard
thing
before it.
Well, I think I'm gonna get like little ones along the way as well. Like,
definitely.
I'm gonna be like, because like when I reach Barcelona, I'm gonna be like halfway.
Yeah.
Like, and then when I make it through the Alps, it's like, oh, that's the toughest part of the cycle.
Is there any like parts of the Tour de France route on it?
I think I'll be going through like one or two of it, which would be pretty cool. Like, I still need to work out the exact roads and stuff. It's gonna be hard because there'll be all these massive motorways that I won't be able to go on.
Yeah.
Which I could 100% cut my trip so easily, but I'll need to take like a lot of older routes just so it's safe for the bike.
Yeah, because I remember like, so I don't know if you can, but I see people. I don't know if you're allowed, is my point, but I see people on the highway here like cycling or running all the time. Because in the UK, like that's that's like illegal.
Yeah, no,
I don't know if
I'm not massively sure on it all. Like,
I don't know about Europe. I don't know if
I think Europe's pretty okay, just because of like because it's all connected. Like, you know, there's kind of it's just the EU.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, you need to worry about visas and that?
No, I'll be on a holiday visa. It'll be holiday visa because
cool.
it's only 90 days. It's only 90 days, which is the max. That's the whole.
So that kind of like gives you so that is actually your time frame, really.
Time frame is I'm not allowed here any longer.
Sweet.
So I have to make it Barcelona the back up to Oslo in 90 days.
Right. Okay. Oh, sweet. So you're actually on like a. That's.
I am on a timeline, but it allows me to like spend a couple days in places. So if I'm allowed 4 days in some. Say I'm allowed 4 days in Barcelona to like rest and like go out, be social, but I don't like it. I can leave in 3. Like, you know, I can leave a day earlier and then, you know, be okay.
Yeah.
So it's
How long is it in total? No, do you not know because you haven't done the route?
Fuck. I think it averages out to 80 k's per day in 90 days. Right. So fuck it. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. I guess it's 8. What's 8 times 9? Fucking 70. Something. It's 72, yeah. 72 is 7,200 kilometers then.
Wow.
I think it's something like that. Well, probably even more, to be honest. We're probably...
Yeah, because you'll be going off and doing stuff.
Well, it'd be... Yeah. So, I'm going to have, like, little wins along the way.
Yeah, definitely.
And just in my mind's, like, not like, oh, this is fucking so tough. I got another 80 days to go.
Yeah.
Like, fuck this. And then I think the big one will be obviously landing in Kathmandu, being like, this is the final stretch.
Yeah.
All I gotta do is I'm off the bike now, and my legs are gonna be fucking tanks by then too. And I'm off the bike now. Let's start walking, and I'm hoping to get a lot of my mates fly over for just the base camp part.
Yeah, that'd be amazing.
So then they all fly in, and they all tick off their bucket list doing Everest base camp.
Yeah.
And then obviously I'm completing this whole thing.
Yeah.
and then just like reach the top, have my 25th birthday up there with all my mates, and then it'd just be like, fuck yeah, like this is unreal. It's gonna be like, I'm just gonna get pumped about it, like fucking oath.
Yeah.
And then it will be the next day, probably hungover as a bastard because it's such high altitude, and then be like, all right, what now?
Yeah.
And then that's when it's like, I'll fly home, actually see my parents because I wouldn't have seen them in like fucking probably a year by then.
Yeah.
And
Are
then
you going to see them before you go?
they're coming over in February, and then
Right,
I
okay,
start the thing
yeah.
in June. So it'd be like almost a year since I'd see them, and obviously I'd hopefully any of my mates that couldn't make it,
Yeah.
obviously see them and everything like that, and then just like chill out. Like at least that's the plan. And from September till like the new year, and then the new year got dug into something else.
Yeah.
And that's right. I don't know what that next thing may be.
That's sweet. Well, dude, you sound like you've got the right mentality to do whatever you want.
Yeah, fucking hope so.
Yeah.
Hope this doesn't break me.
Nah, you don't. I don't. I mean, just from listening to you, like you sound like you've got your head screwed on.
I like to think so,
Yeah,
but
definitely.
like I'm like everyone, like as I said, people always think like, oh, why is so mature? It's like I'm not perfect. Like everyone's got their demons they fight with, and like it's just I think I've just got more of a mentality to break myself out of the house. I always put myself. I'm like a big doer, and it was like the whole Groundhog Day watching that. Like I don't have every day being the same. I don't want to be stuck inside doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Every day I want to be off doing stuff, and I think just by doing the things matured me, and then also just I don't know, it just makes me who I am now.
Yeah.
Like just by literally just getting out of the house, and I'm just gonna go. Like I went down to Mexico straight after a ski season just by myself, just because I was like, fuck, I don't do that, and then I ended up fucking spearfishing with locals. Got my foot all chopped up.
Yeah.
Then ate an oyster like from the local farmer's market, and then shat myself for 3 days. It's just like little stories like that. No one else would have been able to get because they didn't go off and say yes to just traveling by themselves. And say if I even had mates with me, I wouldn't have said yes to the spearfishing with locals.
Yeah, because you'd be off doing something with them.
I would have picked something with them.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have eaten a random oyster off a local.
Yeah.
Because someone would have been in my ear, being like, "No, don't do it."
Let's go get
you're gonna go shit yourself for 2 days. Like,
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking about it. I'm like, look at the size of this fucking oyster.
Yeah.
And then like, it's just like I've always been such a go.
Yeah.
And it like as I said, like I'm not perfect. Every now and then I'm like I'm fucking knackered. I actually really just want to stay and do nothing for the next little while. And as I said, I want to nest. Like I want to find somewhere where I can come back to all the time, because it is annoying. Like for so long being just out of a suitcase or just not having a place that really like I'm from this place. Especially when you're traveling, people always ask like, "Oh, where you from?" I can tell people like 6 different answers because I've lived in all these places. But it's like I just kind of say whatever like comes to my head at the time.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm from Armadale. Oh, I'm from Sydney. Oh, I'm actually from Alice Springs. Oh, I'm from Papua New Guinea. Like you could say all these different places, and then people like, and then like when like multiple people come together, and like the topic comes up, they're like, oh, I thought you were from here. You're like, oh. Yeah, if you like, you can't, it's kind of like getting caught in a lie.
Yeah.
Like I actually am from there, but I'm also from here as well.
Yeah.
Like, so it's always annoying, but it's just like I want to just sit down for a bit. But I said this to my mate actually. I want to go get a house, like do all this stuff, like build a family, get a house, everything like that. But I just know just with myself that I'm such a doer. I'll probably not end up enjoying it anyway. I'll probably end up being like, oh, fucking see, I'm going to go do something else. And then next minute, I've just put all this massive effort into something that like I'm not even going to spend a lot of time in.
Yeah, but you'll probably end up like doing this, getting the business, nesting, and you'll enjoy that. But then as I say, I don't know you too well, but it just seems that you'll be like, right, okay, cool, I've enjoyed this, but I need
something else, yeah.
That's what a lot of people say, like, once you've done, like, I kind of had that to a degree where, like, when you do something, like, such a big accomplishment as you're about to do, like, you kind of, like, I remember some people being like, it's a bit of a, like, you get a depression, and that's too extreme a way to put it, but you get the kind of, like, it's the blues of, like, oh, I've just done this thing, and now it's, like...
What's next, yeah.
So that's why I think sometimes it's good, but you already have that, like, even with just the stuff you're saying, like, like a business, like, finding somewhere to live, like, those are big life goals that, like, take as much, effort as doing, I mean, maybe not necessarily physical effort, but the effort you need to put into a business, and, you know, finding someone and then being like, right, we want to live here. Like that's a lot of like.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with those kind of goals is like it's never really a date in the sand, so to speak, that's going to happen. And it's more, I want this. I want it. Like I don't know when, I don't know how. Like this is just give me.
Yeah.
But like the whole going off and doing the cycling thing, it's like I know it's happening this day. It's happening and then it's ending this day. So it's like it is more like there's a line. There are dates in the sand when it's done, when it started and when it's done. But getting like these life goals.
Yeah.
Don't know how I'm gonna get there. How like how I'm gonna do it. Obviously, starting a business is probably very different to like starting a family and stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be very much like this is the goal, like, but it's not like, and you can't put a date on something like that either. You can't go, I want to have a house by the time I'm 28.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like you just don't know. Like,
the life goals are the ones where you don't have an end. Like this, it'll be quite nice. And it'd definitely quite nice doing this because you have that end goal where like in the days where it's like brutal, you're like, well, I know that I'm making this up. But you're like, I know on the 1st of September the cycle is going to be over.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas,
yeah.
like businesses and families, you're like,
There is no end date to it. There's no real end date to it. And obviously, like business is probably like a bit different because you can know, like, say if like there's a goal you want to hit for the business. Like, okay, I want to reach $1 million in revenue by 2 years from now or something like that. That's something you can work towards. But as a family or building a house or something like that, you can't really be like, oh, I don't want to have a kid by next week. Like, you know, you can't say those things because it's life. It comes and goes, and so it's just kind of like, it's like definitely a different. It's definitely kind of. I know what you're saying with the whole. You come back from somewhere and you can get the blues from coming back from something so awesome. Like because I went
such a high.
Yeah, because you're on such a high. When I did, like my family, we always do holidays to Japan for skiing trips, and I was looking forward to it for so long because it was just out of COVID. We haven't done any traveling since, and I was like, "Fuck yeah! Like this is the trip. This is the trip." And I built up so much excitement for it, had it, and loved the trip. Like I didn't underestimate the trip at all. Like I kind of timed my mindset for it perfectly. Loved the trip. Came back and realized there's nothing to look forward to afterwards, which then I'm just reminiscing so much.
Yeah.
And you're kind of like, fuck, this sucks. Like, and then that's when I was like, you know what, I need to go do a season. I'm going to go do a whole season. And then during the season, realized I want to do the summer.
Yeah.
And then after the summer, I was like, you know, I'm going to do another season. And then it wasn't until I was planning to come to Canada that I had, oh, you know what, after I do these seasons, I'm going to do the cycling. And the whole me just going to Japan and then coming back and realizing how much I reminisced on the trips, realized I always kind of have to have something next to go to.
Yeah, definitely.
And so after the cycling, I probably like, if you give me a call the week before I fucking fly out, I'll probably say, oh yeah, after the cycling I'm doing this, because then I probably would have, you know, started planning it more.
Yeah. Well, that's what I was going to say. We should do a catch up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
When you're doing it, and also when you're finished.
Yeah. Well, I definitely when I'm finished, I definitely want to jump back on, like, because it'd be so interesting looking back at what we're saying now, and then just being like, oh yeah, fucking, I was totally wrong about everything. Like, should have definitely thought of this route way more. Got lost 7 times.
But yeah, we should definitely catch up.
No, definitely. I reckon it's definitely gonna be an eye-opening experience for myself. And like, who knows where it takes me?
Yeah.
It could take me down the whole route of just making these like action documentaries, and that would be like a goal of mine. Because I always look at like Red Bull TV, and be like, oh, this looks sick. Imagine just doing that for a job. That'd be unreal. And then here I am, just gonna go throw myself in the deep end and try and do it. And if it comes out, it's like, oh, I can do it. Here's the resume. Will it take me somewhere? And then
I think it will, man. Just from like,
who knows?
Yeah, you've got the right attitude in doing it.
Yeah, I think it's really I think it's just about putting the head down and just doing it. Like, and that's why I'm setting all these plans, and I'm throwing it out into the universe. So then it's like I can't back out.
Yeah, it's kind of like somewhat law of attraction almost.
Yeah,
You start doing these things.
Yeah, I think. Oh, I just don't want myself to get to a month out and be like, oh no, I'm not gonna do it.
Nah, you
like,
do it.
No, I'm gonna do it because I fucking forcing myself to do it.
Everyone.
I've told everyone about it. I'm fucking literally told. Like, I've got like companies on the line waiting for me to make this thing, and that's why when I was coming up with the idea, I was in my head like, I don't want to bail at all. I do not want to be in this situation where I haven't told anybody about it. I've kept it all secret, and then like I just.
Because then you can maybe sneak out.
I can sneak away from it. I can sneak away from it and just do something else.
Yeah.
and that would just be a big, like in the pearly gates in comparison to you versus your potential, like a massive drop from anyone getting anywhere near my potential. Is that I've just missed out on a whole 100 days of life experience that will probably change who I am, and for the better. Like
100%, yeah.
so, it's gonna be fucking sick. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you sitting and chatting with me about it.
No, it's happy
We'll
to.
definitely have a catch up when you're done.
Definitely. I'm very keen for it.
Sweet. Cheers, dude.
Cheers, man.